My role is agronomy sales. I sell every aspect of it. We sell seed, we sell chemical, we sell fertilizer, we sell all the inputs that farmers need to work with their crops. So we make a lot of recommendations from that side is what we do. I do strictly sales, so I go out to the farmers, make recommendations. I also do the crop consulting still, so I go out and visit with farmers about what we need to be doing for the next year and make the plans for it. Whenever we start to get into those inputs, we know how much it's going to cost the farmer. So with the price of fertilizer, what we've started to have to look at is they wanted to back the fertilizer rates off. They wanted to bring those fertilizer rates back. Instead of putting 200 pounds on, I want to put 180 pounds on. As an agronomist, I know how much it takes to make that crop. I know how much fertility it's going to take to make a corn crop, sunflowers, soybeans, milo, any of the crops that we're growing in southwest Nebraska. I know what the requirements are going to take. So when we start talking about cutting back fertility, that's the wrong gamma. We need to be looking at making that crop is what we need to, and making sure it's got enough fertility. I'll talk specifically about AVAIL in our area in southwest Nebraska and northwest Kansas, the customers that I work with. Pulling soil samples, I get some real high fertility recommendations sometimes that we need to be putting out there. We got a lot of high pH soil to where the AVAIL is very responsive in our area. We started doing it with the phosphorus, with the dry phosphorus and the liquid phosphorus. And what we do on the liquid phosphorus side is we have systems set up in our blend plant that actually ties right into our Jungi system. So the computer, we tell the computer how much is supposed to be put on to that liquid, and it does it for us automatically is what it does. And it's mixed into a Jungi system into a big blend. So once it's blended onto that product, it stays on that product. And we'll put it out through our floaters. We have farmers that do it with coulter machines that put it into the soil. So we have a lot of ways to use the phosphorus. On the dry side, we use DAP and MAP. So 1152.0 MAP and 1846.0 MAP, or DAP is what we use. We put the AVAIL on those is what we do. Now in those scenarios, we have nozzles built into our blender is what we have, and we can regulate the rate of how much AVAIL is going into that blender. And we blend it as it's going into the blender. We have a real slow process that puts the exact amount on into the blender, and it blends it into that blender and make sure it's on every prill and that we know that it's done. Now with the AVAIL, we've also done is we put some dye into the AVAIL is what we put in there. So whenever it's in the blender, you can see that you're getting it on every prill. From the NutriSphere side of the fence, that's the one I'm most excited about. The NutriSphere is what we've been putting on our liquid and our dry. In our territory in southwest Nebraska, we're doing a lot of no-till. I mean, almost 90% of our acres are all strictly no-till. And we do either dry fertilizer or we do liquid fertilizer. The biggest question that I get from farmers in our territory is, am I going to get all of my nitrogen that I'm putting on? And from an agronomic standpoint, from my side to where I'm telling farmers this is what we're recommending, we have some problems with volatilization and we have some problems with tie-up with the nitrogen. So what I tell them is we have a product, NutriSphere-N, that we can put on to your liquid or your dry nitrogen, and that will keep it from volatilizing, and that'll keep it from leaching through the soil profile. A lot of gamma or a lot of broad spectrum soil type is what we have. We have everywhere from sandy loam soils to heavy silt loam soils that have clay in it. We still have a lot of problems with leaching. So where we've run this NutriSphere-N, we've solved that problem. We actually have a product that'll do that. Every year is different, but like this year in the dry land corn acres, we had a lot of rain early. And we had rain from March until about mid-June is when we had rain. So we washed a lot of the nitrogen down deeper. The corn plants were not rooting down into it, but you could really tell, and I can tell now that the plants are rooted down farther in there. Where I put the NutriSphere on the nitrogen, we've really seen the plants, they greened up in that July to August time frame, and you can really tell by the ears on the corn. Usually as an agronomist, I go out and check dryland fields and check irrigated fields. We get a lot of nitrogen deficiency on the corn. You'll see those ears tip back. You'll see where they're not getting the grain fill like they did. On the fields where I've got side-by-sides with NutriSphere, you can definitely tell that we finally picked up that nitrogen later on. From the retail side, it's very, very profitable for us. From a point to where we can put this product on the NutriSphere on the nitrogen and the AVAIL on the phosphorus, we can custom apply this stuff. Our margins are very, very good. We've had very good response from the prices that we've taken out there to the farmer. It's been minimal cost to them per acre, and then for us, it's very profitable.